Well, hi there, food friends. It's Kevin.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Ralph behind the camera.
And welcome to Cavalcade of Food.
Yes,
and
welcome.
Today, Ralph, we're making Bran Muffins.
Tasty and healthy.
It's a brand new day. How about that? Well, the inspiration actually came from a trip to the local bulk food store.
Ah.
And look at this. I got a big old bag of wheat bran, $1.29.
Wow.
You know how we like a good bargain.
I do.
So I said, well, there's, what can I make with all this wheat bran? So there's, of course, bread and, baked things. But I like a nice bran muffin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I thought, well, maybe... am I getting to that age?
Yes, you are. Yes, we are.
But if I'm honest, ever since I was a young whippersnapper, I love anything bran.
Yeah, the taste
Raisin
of it.
bran, all bran cereal, whole bran, bread, muffins. I've always been a bran
freak. So what is bran?
So this is like the outer part of the wheat.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's, frankly, when you buy whole wheat bread or whatever, it has the wheat bran in it. All right, we're going to start. This is a half a cup measure. And I want a cup and a half of the wheat bran. Okay? So we're going to take a cup and a half here of our wheat bran, put it in the bowl. Okay. Then to that, you need a cup of buttermilk. Or if you don't have that, as I didn't, sour milk. I think we've gone over this before, Ralph. So to make sour milk, which you can substitute for buttermilk.
You add an acid.
Yes, exactly right. So you take a cup of milk, and to every cup of milk, you add 1 tablespoon of either lemon juice, which is what I used in this case, or you can use white vinegar.
Okay.
Either one will do the trick.
That'll sour it up for you.
Stir it in, let it kind of hang for 5-10 minutes, and it'll sour up that milk. Okay, so I'm adding my cup of sour milk to that. What do I do with my spoon? It doesn't matter. Here's one. Then we're going to just sort of toss this around. We want to get that bran sort of moistened and absorb some of that milk. Okay, so what I'm going to do is move this around, and then we're going to just let this hang out for like 10 minutes. Okay,
it's fun. You can smell it already kind of coming to life.
It's sort of the buttermilk or sour milk, whichever you use, sort of blooms the wheat bran a little bit. Can you smell the wheaty branny?
Yeah, it looks like sawdust, but it smells like heaven.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, don't let the sawdust look fool you.
It's actually the healthier part of the flour, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of the wheat flour?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so a lot of this, when they process flour and they refine flour to get, white flour, well, they don't need this part. So, okay, we're going to just let that sit there.
But that's where all the nutrients are.
I know. Of course, it also makes, it provides a different kind of texture.
And fiber and flavor and different things. So when you're baking and you don't want, I guess people...
Well, we expect a bran muffin to be branny and fibrous.
Especially if it's made by your granny.
So, now, of course, it's not just the wheat fiber, the wheat bran. We are going to also add some regular flour.
Oh, okay.
So here, Ralph, I've got 1 cup of just regular all-purpose flour.
Okay.
To that, I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of salt,
okay,
a teaspoon of baking powder, and a teaspoon of baking soda. Okay? So those are our leaveners. So we're going to put that in there. And then you can either, just for simplicity, I'm using a whisk. You could sift these ingredients together if you like. Okay? And so we're going to have those.
Since it's going to be kind of a fibrous, textured muffin, you don't need to get too refined with the sifting and all that.
No, I'm gonna just set that aside.
Okay.
Now let's talk about add-ins.
Add-ins, okay.
So the sky's kind of the limit in terms of, what you want to put into a bran muffin, and you don't have to put anything in it.
When you were a kid, you said you were a Bran fan.
Yeah.
How did you like them? Did you like them with something in them to sweeten it?
Generally, and sometimes it was just something as simple as raisins. But any dried fruit goes very nicely with the bran muffin. So here, I had some dried cranberries, Ralph. Okay. These are nice.
Wait, is that different from a craisin?
It's the same thing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Craisin, dried cranberry. It's basically a dried cranberry that's been maybe sweetened a little bit, because cranberries, are really tart.
Have a bit of a bitterness to it.
But you could use figs, chopped up dates, chopped up figs, chopped up dates would be nice. You could use
chocolate chips.
Chocolate chips. You could use chopped walnuts. You could use chopped up dried apricots would be really nice in here. So whatever. You want a half a cup, okay? That's what we're going to use. A half a cup. If you want it a little bit fuller, you could go up to a cup. Don't put any more than a cup of filling in it, okay?
But for what goes in, the sky's the limit, okay?
Yeah, so really, use your imagination and use what you like.
Something to sweeten it, though.
Now,
not anchovies.
Right, not anchovies. We've got our wheat bran. We've got our dry ingredients here mixed together. We've got our dried fruit at the ready. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put together our wet ingredients. So in this bowl, Ralph, there's an egg, okay?
Okey-doke.
And we know when we're baking, we want our ingredients all at room temperature. So if you're using milk, let it come up to room temperature. You're using eggs, let them come up to room temperature. So this recipe calls for 1 egg. I'm also going to put in, just for a little extra flavor, I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay? Then we need a fat, and I'm going to put in 1/3 cup of vegetable oil.
Okay.
Okay? Then finally we do need to sweeten it up a little bit.
Oh, so there's actually going to be some, besides the fruit, there's going to be some,
yes,
looks like brown sugar you got.
And there is 2/3 of a cup of brown sugar. We're going to put that in there, and we're going to mix that in with our dries. And what I'm going to do, Ralph, rather than get out a mix, a hand mix, stand mixer or something like that, I'm going to use a good old-fashioned beater here.
You said your dries, but you meant wet.
Wets, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So we're going to just beat all this together. Thank you.
See, that's my extra hand helping. Kevin doesn't have 3 hands.
I don't. I used to, but okay.
Ever since the accident. Okay, so you've got your oil, which is your fat.
Yep.
Your brown sugar and your egg.
And vanilla.
Oh, right, and the vanilla.
Okay. So there we go. That's all there is to that. And by the way, they still make these. You can find them very frequently at thrift stores and estate sales and things like that.
But they still make them.
They do. And these are so handy when you just don't want to get out there. They're great for beating eggs. That's really, a lot of people just call them egg beaters.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of good. I do that and it gets off a little bit of the stuff.
Extra. Yeah.
All right, so we've got our wets, we've got our dries, we've got our fruit. Let's see how our bran is doing here. Okay.
And when it's baked and comes out of the oven, you can put cream cheese, you can put butter, you can put honey.
Now, I'm all good, Ralph, all of those things. I want this to go another 5 minutes or so to soak. I want it to soften up a little bit more. So we're just going to let that hang out. We've got everything together. I'm going to do a quick little cleanup and we'll come back and we'll start to combine things. The 51 Calvinator, Ralph, we've got preheating to 375 degrees. Okay? And since these are muffins, we're going to use, you could do it in a large, if you're either going to get 6 large or 12 small. Okay. We're going to do small.
Okay.
Okay? Now, if you don't have these paper cups, you can just liberally grease the inside here, but I like to use these. It makes cleanup easier, and I just like to use them. So if you've got these parchment paper little muffin cups, put them in, but prepare for 12. Okay, Ralph, now we're ready to put everything together. By the way, if you are, if Bran doesn't do it for you, but you would like to have something with Bran in it, you know, a thing that you can do, and I don't do this because I really I love the flavor of the Bran, but to your dry ingredients, you could throw in a half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, okay? Spice it up a little bit, and that would cut a little bit of the branniness.
Oh,
okay,
I see.
you know what I'm saying? But
the Bran flavor.
Flavor, yeah.
If you're not a fan of the Bran flavor, but Bran will do it for you.
So our wheat bran has soaked for 10 minutes. Now, Ralph, let's add in our wet ingredients, okay? So this is our brown sugar, our oil, our egg, our vanilla. We're going to put that in here. I'm going to make sure we get it all.
Yeah, I've recently discovered the joys of a good spatula because it's got to have some flexibility. You know, if it's too rigid, it doesn't really do the trick. But I need to get one that is like that, that's metal, because I have one that has a wooden handle, and I'm finding myself having to take it apart constantly to wash it.
Yeah, to wash it, because
it gets mildewy.
Sometimes, yeah, and you don't want to get bacteria trapped in there.
Yeah.
I will say, out of all the little kitchen utensils in the crock there, a spatula and probably wooden spoons are my two most used.
Yep, those would be my go-tos as well.
So this is a very easy mix to do by hand, and I'm just going to use the spatula for the remainder here. Okay, so now we've got our wets mixed in with that bran and buttermilk.
Looking pretty wet.
All right. Now we're going to gradually, I'm going to put in about half of the dry, kind of get that mixed in, and then I'll put in the other half. The only reason I don't dump it all in at once is
gets clumpy.
Well, that, and you know how I am usually
Floppy.
Making a mess, and this helps me stir it without having the flour
a little
go
more
flying.
Control. Yeah.
All right, now we'll put the rest of that in. Now this isn't that simple. This isn't that easy. Or no, this is pretty. Let's rewind. This is pretty easy.
This is not that hard.
No, it is not that hard. You want to stir this until just moistened, okay? Until the white of the flour disappears. You don't want to overwork it. So, which is a standard procedure usually in making muffins of any kind. You just want to...
Muffins and meatballs.
Yeah, just exactly. Just okay, so now it's just moistened. Now we're going to fold in our dried fruit. In this case, cranberries, okay? And, you know, give it a little pop of color, and then, you know, you get those little surprises.
Although it does get dark upon cooking or baking, right?
Yes, it will. It'll get a darker brown, for sure.
Okay.
Okay, done. All right, let's come on over here, and let me get a spoon, and we're going to drop the batter in. You want to come just under the top of your baking cup. Okay.
So you want to leave room for the rise.
Yeah, it will rise, and it may even bake a little bit over the top, and that's okay. But I think you'll find that you're going to get 12 very full cups here.
Now, if you used a smaller spoon, would that help to keep it from getting on the, making the little mess?
Yes, it probably would. But why would I do that when I can make a mess and have, more to clean up? I mean, there's no fun in that.
All right.
Plus, this spoon was already dirty.
Right.
So, but, maybe I could put it in smaller batches. All right, so you know what, folks? I'm just going to fill my muffin tins up here with our batter, and then I'll come back and we'll get them in the oven. So here is, we used all the batter, got it evenly dispersed among our 12 cups, and now we're going to get it in this 375 degree oven, 15 to 20 minutes, okay? We'll chuck them at 15 and see how they're doing. And you will test these just like you would a cake. They should spring back on the top, and a toothpick inserted should come out clean.
Yes.
So I think we are looking good. It's been in for about 20 minutes. Here are the muffins.
Wow, they look great.
So see how they spring back? I don't know if you can tell. We'll also stick in a toothpick, and nice and clean.
I was somehow thinking they were going to get even darker, but I'm glad that they're not, because then you can really see the craziness.
Yeah, I mean, they're darker than they were, and you could, you have to be careful with muffins because you don't want to over brown them.
But I thought you made
dry
some
'em out.
recently, and they were quite dark.
I don't know that they were. They might have been a tad darker than that.
Did you happen to have molasses in those other ones or anything?
I did not, as a matter of fact. But one thing I'm going to do right now is we're going to take them out of their tins, okay? So we're going to flip them. See, if you leave these in,
Yeah.
this metal pan is hot.
It'll keep cooking.
And they'll
them.
keep cooking them. And we don't want them
Baked.
overcooked.
Whoa.
Because then they get dried out. So,
Boy, those are fun,
those
festive
aren't those?
cupcake holders, muffin holders.
All right, whoop.
Oh, some are blue and some are striped.
Yeah, just those are the colors
Oh,
that I
that's
had.
cool. Oh, that's great.
Okay, woo, hot muffin.
Coming
Now
through.
we can't. I know we're dying to get into these, but we're going to have to let these cool down. Because actually, if the muffins are hot, they're too hot, you can't peel the paper off of them. They'll still stick to the little parchment liners.
How long
But
must you
I
torture
got-
me with this waiting?
Well, we're going to have to wait about 15 minutes. I got coffee perking on the stove.
Oh, I thought I smelled
Okay.
coffee. Good.
And so we'll have a nice cup. Got the butter out of the fridge.
Oh, you are prepared.
We know what we're doing.
Kevin
Okay,
is
this
a
isn't our
brand
first time
fan
at the muffin factory.
at the muffin rodeo.
So, anyways, we'll be back and we'll try our Bran Muffins.
After 15 agonizing, torturous, eternity-like minutes.
Okay, Ralph. They're still, warm, not hot though.
Well, that's
And
a given. They got to be warm.
they gotta be
You know, I
warm.
love things right out of the oven.
I know.
I mean, not right out, because
Well, we're gonna pour
we had to wait a
a
little
nice cup of coffee. Oh, look at that, right there.
bit. You look like a coffee commercial from the 50s.
Delish. Okay, let's take one and see how we're doing.
How easy does it peel off?
Pretty easy, wouldn't you say?
Oh, look at that. Yep.
Okay, so we're going to put that there. Let's cut it in half.
Hey, could you put oatmeal in there if you wanted to? Would that be too much? Probably
You
too much.
could. I mean, that's a different. There are. You know what? Remind me. I'll do an oatmeal muffin.
I love oatmeal.
Okay, I know. So look, we've got a couple of nice pieces of cranberry right there.
I see. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if the butter cancels out the bran,
Oh, the healthiness of the brand.
but we don't care.
No. God, you could put so much on here. You could put cream cheese, butter. You could put peanut butter. You could put
Wow, that's good.
Whipped cream, ice cream, anything.
Love it.
Is it good?
Yeah. It's just what you want in a bran muffin. You've got a nice texture. It's moist. You really taste the wheat.
Do you?
It's good. Mm-hmm.
And then it's got the sweetness from the brown sugar.
Yeah, and just enough. It's
Just
not
enough.
a super sweet
Right.
muffin, but the cranberries give it a really nice
Extra kick and texture.
And you saw it couldn't have been easier to put these together.
Yeah, this was something even I could do. So we hope our friends watching will either
then,
make one if they
Ralph
haven't
would
yet,
like a bite.
or they can tell us about their adventures in Bran Muffin.
And I'm going to have a little sip of coffee.
Yeah, that I'm sure goes well with these, right?
Excellent.
Mmm.
Are you getting the branniness?
Yeah, I hate to use the word gritty, but there's a good grittiness to it.
Yeah, it's
maybe hearty's a better
hearty.
word.
Yeah, there's a substantial
Texture.
to it, which is what you want.
Can I have a sip of that coffee?
You can. You put the muffin down on the saucer, though. There. Okay.
You know me.
We don't stand on ceremony.
I'm a rule breaker.
Yeah, from way back. But anyways, we are going to enjoy these, and
Yeah,
this is.
it's been a lot of fun.
By the way, these freeze beautifully. So if you didn't think you'd have, if you can't eat the dozen in a couple of days,
we don't recommend one person eating a dozen.
No, we really don't.
We're saying if you can't.
But if
Sure.
if you're making it for your family or whatever, you would go through a dozen in a couple of days.
But
But
the
if
point
that's
is,
not the case,
They're easy to freeze.
they're easy to freeze and they freeze well, and you can do that. Just put them in an airtight container and take out when you want and let them thaw out. You could warm them up in the microwave for a few seconds if you wanted to. Ralph, you mentioned putting cream cheese on these, or even a nice slice of cheddar cheese. Let it melt on there. Would be delicious. A lot of different ways to take this. And I was thinking if you could even make this, if you didn't want to make muffins, you could even probably put this in a loaf pan and make like bran bread. Okay, instead of bran muffins, and do it that way. So that's another option. But I like the muffins because they're fun to eat. They're easy to share. You don't have to really cut them that much if you don't want to.
And you can use your imagination, as Kevin said earlier. You could put everything from chocolate chips to walnuts in there.
Absolutely.
Raisins.
So, you know what? As always, we had a fun time putting these bran muffins together, and we hope you had fun spending a little time with us. If you like what we do here at Cavalcade of Food, please share, like, subscribe.
You make it special by being with us.
Absolutely. Share your bran muffin stories in the comments. We love hearing them, and we wish you all the best until we can be together again on the next installment of Cavalcade of Food. Until then, take care, everybody. Bye now.
Bye.